Hello and welcome. Tonight, a day after the inauguration ceremony, President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Shatima formally resume at the presidential villa for the task ahead. Labour unions fault new administration stance on removal of fuel subsidy, say President Tinubu cannot unilaterally remove it. Fuel queues return across the country, various parts of the country, as marketers jerk up pump prices in reaction to the president's announcement on fuel subsidy.
On business news tonight, the equities market also recorded its largest single-day gain ever in the history of the NGX, as President Tinubu's pro-market policies boost investors' confidence.
On sports news tonight, world number 2 Daniil Medvedev becomes the first major casualty at the French Open after he was stunned by Brazilian qualifier Thiago Wild in a 5-set thriller.
From Abuja, the nation's capital, Daura Emirates in Katsina welcomes former President Muhammadu Buhari with a special durbar following his return home after 8 years in Aso Rock.
And in international news from London, Russia has accused Ukraine of launching an early morning drone attack on Moscow, the first time the city has been targeted by multiple drones since Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
President Bola Tinubu has formally resumed at the presidential villa on his first day of work, hours after he took the oath of office as Nigeria's 16th president. President Tinubu, who arrived from the Defense House, was received by the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shatima, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, Group CEO, and NPC Limited, Mele Kyari, among others. Our State House correspondent, Gloria Mizuke, has more.
Few minutes past 2 p.m., the Vice President, Senator Kashim Shatima, arrives at the presidential wing of the State House, and he is quickly joined by the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, the Governor of the Central Bank, among others. They're here to receive the President, Bola Tinubu, who resumes on his first day in office. Soon enough, the president's motorcade arrived at the presidential gate, where he receives salutation and inspects the quarter guard. President Tinubu, who arrived from the Defense House, joins his welcome party. The Group Chief Executive of the NNPCL, Mr. Mele Kyari, who met privately with the President, announced a 2.8 trillion naira debt being owed the company.
We continue to support the subsidy from the cash flow of the NNPC. That is, when we net off our fiscal obligations of taxes and royalty, there is still a balance that we are funding from our cash flow. And that has become very, very difficult and affecting our other operations. I'm very convinced today that the country can no longer fund this subsidy bill and they will not be able to pay NNPC. And therefore, we are pleased to note Mr. President's commitment to elimination of this subsidy because they can't afford it anymore. And we will take necessary steps to ensure that we recover our costs from the market, and also being mindful of the fact that, a situation like this can lead to exploitation of customers, and we're also working with the regulator who is here with me to see how we can cap any such excessive greed.
The removal of the subsidy, according to the Nigerian Mainstream and Downstream Regulatory Authority Chief Executive, has opened the market.
What I can assure you that as an NDPRA, we are ready to license anybody that wants to import. So there's not going to be any cap per se, but it's going to be based on the cost of importation.
As some Nigerians hail the subsidy removal, the NNPCL is confident that the federal government will kick off plans to cushion its effect on Nigerians. From the presidential villa, Gloria Umezuke, Channels Television News.
And just before welcoming the president to his office, the vice president had resumed at his own desk earlier at the vice presidential wing of the presidential villa. Speaking with State House correspondents after resuming office, Mr. Shatima reaffirmed the Tinubu administration's commitment to ensuring a better country for all Nigerians. He also reaffirmed the need for the removal of fuel subsidy and collapsing multiple exchange rates. Our State House correspondent Kayla Migwa reports.
At 12:39 p.m. on Tuesday, May the 30th, 2023, the convoy of Vice President Kashim Shatima arrives at his office at the Vice President's wing of the State House in Abuja.
Your Excellency.
Alighting from his vehicle, he exchanges pleasantries with some members of his staff and heads into his office, where he speaks to State House correspondents on the Tinubu administration's plans, which he describes as modern governance.
The President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is poised to redefine the meaning and concept of modern governance. I want to assure Nigerians that he is going to provide the lead, he is going to provide the leadership, and will rally around him, give him our unequivocal support and loyalty to see to the realization of the Nigerian dream.
When asked about the Tinubu administration's plans on the issues of multiple exchange rates and the fuel scarcity experienced in the country following the president's inauguration speech, Vice President Shatima describes both issues as the big elephants in the room.
Before 40% of Nigerians benefit very little from the fuel subsidy. And we know the consequences of unveiling a masquerade. We'll get fierce opposition from those benefiting from the oil scam, fuel subsidy scam. But where there is a will, there is a way. The issue of multiple exchange rates, we need to collapse it into one. So these are two big elephants in the room. Be rest assured that we are going to work harmoniously as a team, as a family, for the greater good of our nation.
Hitting the ground running on day one, the Vice President Kashim Shatima reminded Nigerians that the era in which we're in is a rendezvous with destiny. Speaking up about the fuel scarcity being faced right now, he reaffirms the statement of his principal, President Bola Tinubu, stating that the era of subsidies are over and promising better days ahead for the Nigerian people. From the State House in Abuja, Kayla Migwa, Channels Television News.
And barely 24 hours after President Bola Tinubu's inauguration speech, where he affirmed his stance that petrol subsidy will end, fuel queues have resurfaced in different parts of the country. Motorists woke up early today to join fuel queues to buy petrol for their vehicles. In some states, there are reports that prices have gone up by as much as between 250 naira to 70 naira, while other stations are not even selling the product at all, and the long queues have caused gridlock on the roads. We'll bring you more on this situation from different parts of the country in the course of the bulletin. Well, the Nigeria Labour Congress NLC says it is outraged by the pronouncement of President Bola Tinubu about removing fuel subsidy without consultations with critical stakeholders or without putting in place palliative measures to cushion the harsh effects of the subsidy removal. In a statement by the NLC president, Mr. Joe Ajero, it says within hours of his pronouncements, the nation went into a tailspin due to a combination of service shutdowns and product price hike, in some places representing over 300% price adjustment. According to him, by this decision on his inauguration day, President Tinubu brought tears and sorrow to millions of Nigerians instead of hope, as he equally devalued the quality of their lives by over 300%. He says the NLC opposes the decision and is demanding an immediate withdrawal of the policy. Meanwhile, the Trade Union Congress TUC says President Tinubu cannot unilaterally remove fuel subsidy. The body, in a statement jointly signed by its president, describes President Tinubu's action as a joke taken too far. According to the TUC, the subsidy issue is a delicate one that touches on the very survival of the working people and ought to have been preceded by robust dialogue and consultation with representatives of the working people, including professionals, market people, as well as students. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is commending the decision of President Bola Tinubu on removing fuel subsidy without consultations with critical stakeholders. Now, this follows a motion of urgent public importance from Honorable Jimoh Olajide. The House is further appealing to Nigerians to be patient and prayerful and allow the President to deliver on his promises.
Aware that there is no provision for fuel subsidy in the 2023 Appropriation Act. Further aware that the current 9th Assembly and the past administration had been giving it illegal backing. Convinced that further legislative actions in supporting Mr. President in delivering dividend of democracy will go a long way in enhancing development, because he asked for it, he campaigned for it, and is ready for the task ahead. Further convinced that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Tutor General of Nigerian politics, who have been tested and trusted, is concerned about the masses and has the meaningful objectives to utilize Nigerian funds appropriately with budgetary reforms agenda, particularly on education, health, infrastructural development, agriculture, food security, and above all, security of lives and property as embedded in the 1999 Constitution as amended. This House therefore resolved to salute his courage and boldness to serve our country, Nigeria, with honesty and integrity.
In part two, after the break, founder Hilton Hotel, Ile-Ife, Dr. Ramon Adedoyin, and 3 staff sentenced to death over murder of a student of the Obafemi Awolowo University, Timothy Adegoke, in 2021. We'll have that story and more in a moment. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. Here's a reminder of our top stories. A day after their inauguration ceremony, President Bola Tinubu and his vice, Kashim Shatima, formally resumed at the presidential villa. Labour unions fault new administration's stance on removal of fuel subsidy, say President Tinubu cannot unilaterally remove it. Fuel queues return in various parts of the country as marketers jerk pump price in reaction to President's announcement that fuel subsidy is gone. And Russia accuses Ukraine of launching early morning drone attack on Moscow, the first time the city has been targeted by multiple drones since the invasion began. We now head to the court where the Labour Party, along with its presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, they've opened their petition against President Bola Tinubu, the All Progressives Congress and the Independent National Electoral Commission by calling one witness out of the 50 proposed. Led in evidence by Jibrin Okutepa, senior lawyer, the witness, Lawrence Nwaketi, tendered a judgment from a district court in the United States of America, which he claims indicted the President Bola Tinubu and ordered his forfeiture of $460,000 in drug-related offences. Our correspondent Emanuela Ekele reports.
The Presidential Election Petition Court reconvened after a week to begin the definite hearing in the petitions by the presidential candidates of the People's Democratic Party and Labour Party, alongside the parties challenging the victory of the President, Bola Tinubu. Mr. Peter Obi is present to witness today's proceedings. His running mate Yusuf Dati Ahmed and the former Minister of State for Labour, Festus Keyamo, are first-time callers. Mr. Keyamo joins the president's team of lawyers. Senior lawyers are seen in the field courtroom discussing in groups ahead of the sitting. The hearing commences, led in evidence by Mr. Jibrin Okutekpa, an Anambra-based lawyer and witness for Labour Party, Lawrence Mwaketi, tendered a certified true copy of a United States of America District Court judgment, which he claimed indicted the president and ordered his forfeiture of $460,000 in drug-related offenses. The lawyer also admitted that there was no certificate from any consular in Nigeria or America in support of the judgment, but insisted that the judgment speaks for itself. Under cross-examination by counsel to APC, Lateef Fagbemi, the witness said the American court judgment had no certificate given under the hand of any American police officer. When asked by Fagbemi, he also denied knowledge of a February 4, 2003 formal clearance report by legal attaché from the American embassy in respect of the alleged indictment and forfeiture. The court subsequently admitted it in evidence.
What we have, the certified true copy of the entirety of the record of proceedings from the District Court of Illinois in the United States of America, where $460,000 were forfeited in the proceedings that you will see that involves what appears to be narcotic dishonest substances. So those were the documents we tendered through PW, and they were duly pleaded. We served them, they have it, and everyone has it.
Back in the courtroom, the counsel for Atiku Abubakar and the PDP, Eyitayo Jegede, tendered all exhibits. Atiku's exhibit includes INEC certified true copies of declaration of results, summary of results, printout of Beaver's reports for each polling unit in the 36 states, number of PVCs collected in all the states including the FCT. The court also adjourned hearing of the petition of the Allied People's Movement to June 2 to give them time to look into the certified true copy of the Supreme Court's judgment of May 26 on the controversy surrounding the double nomination of Vice President Kashim Shatima and see how it affects the petition. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
Staying with legal matters, the Osun State High Court in Osogbo has sentenced Abdurrahman Adedoyin, the owner of Hilton Hotel, Ile-Ife, and two others to death by hanging for culpable homicide in the death of Timothy Adegoke, a master's student of the Obafemi Awolowo University, OAU. Mr. Adegoke died in controversial circumstances at the hotel in Ile-Ife belonging to Mr. Adedoyin in November 2021. Delivering the judgment, the Chief Judge of the state held that Abdurrahman Adedoyin, Kazim Oyetunde, and Adeni Adirogba were guilty of the charges against them. Apart from being sentenced to death, they were also sentenced to serve different years of jail terms for other offences committed, such as conspiracy and unlawful interference with the deceased body in an attempt to cover up. The judge also held that the children of late Timothy Adegoke's education be placed under sponsorship of Abdurrahman Adedoyin's estate up to university level and completion of the National Youth Service Corps.
The first defendant is Dr. Raymond Adedoyin, and he has been convicted for conspiracy to commit murder and murder, among other counts preferred against him. The third defendant is Adeni Adirogba. He was the manager of the hotel. He was the one that admitted that himself, Rahim Adedoyin, who is now at large, the fifth defendant, evacuated the dead body of the late Timothy Adegoke from the hotel, from room 305 where he was lodged, and evacuated it and dumped him at Ede Road. They both admitted and they were convicted for their various roles in the entire case. So the fifth defendant is Oyetunde Kazim. He was also a money manager as well in the same hotel. So the three of them, including the seventh defendant, have been convicted. For the conspiracy, they were convicted for 10 years imprisonment. And for some other offenses, they were convicted for life imprisonment. Justice has been served, well served in this case, in the sense that the late Timothy Adegoke did not die in vain.
The second defendant and the second defendant and the fourth defendant was actually discharged and acquitted. Of course, you know, and the fifth defendant was convicted.
So security now. The Oyo State Police Command has confirmed 1 fatality and 78 arrests in the face-off between the police and members of the park management system in the state, led by Mr. Mukaila Lamidi, popularly known as Auxiliary. The police, acting on a tip-off that the leadership of the PMS was prepared for a showdown across major parks in the state, swung into action and raided the property belonging to Mr. Lamidi. The raid led to the death of a man and the arrest of 78 persons. A large cache of arms and ammunition also recovered. Our correspondent Bukola Oriowo has more.
Acting on the directive of the Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde, his Chief of Staff Segun Ogunwuyi announced the dissolution of the disciplinary committee of the Park Management System PMS, headed by Mr. Mukaila Lamidi, better known as Auxiliary, and members of his executive committee with immediate effect. The action of the state government did not go down well with the sacked park managers, who allegedly led an attack on some members of the National Union of Road Transport Workers on the governor's inauguration day. The police claimed they got credible intelligence on a planned attack to be coordinated by Auxiliary across the parks in the state, and how to act immediately by raiding the Alakia Isebo property of the PMS leader, where a gun duel ensued. One of the PMS members was killed in the process, while 78 arrests were made and weapons recovered.
At major parks of the metropolis were arrested in possession of sophisticated weapons, 724 cartridges, assorted charms, 33 mobile phones, and a sum cash of about 3,450,000 naira. In addition, during the raid, sophisticated firearms were recovered inside the hotel rooms and in the trunk compartments of the parked vehicles within the hotel.
To sustain the offensive, the police boss orders high-level patrol to avoid any breach of peace across the state.
Moving forward, residents shall witness high-octane patrols, coordinated stop and search along designated points across the nooks and crannies of the state. Also, I've directed the area commanders to personally lead convoy patrols and rings of supervision of police operatives within their respective areas of jurisdiction.
The police has assured the people of the state that they are on top of the situation to ensure order and safety in the state. Bukola Oriowo, Channels Television News.
And to perhaps another near showdown, but this time by government agencies. Earlier today, shots rang out within the barricaded premises of number 15 Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, Lagos, which was said to have been taken over from the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, by the Department of State Services, DSS. The shots were heard just as journalists approached the locked gate of the premises to get close-up video footage. Police officers attached to the EFCC and other members of staff expressed shock at the development. They were also glad that no one was hurt. Sources say that there had been a 20-year silent dispute between both agencies over the ownership and usage of the premises, and efforts to resolve same largely remained unsuccessful. The premises, which was originally exclusively used by the DSS, has been shared by both agencies since the establishment of the EFCC by former President Olusegun Obasanjo in 2003. While the EFCC in a statement described the presence of operatives of the DSS at its Lagos State office as a siege, the DSS in a statement by spokesman Peter Afunaya, however, says the service is only occupying its own facility where it is carrying out its official and statutory responsibility. He goes on to say that he will be surprised if the EFCC is contesting the ownership of the building. But in the meantime, President Bola Tinubu has asked the Department of State Services, DSS, to immediately vacate the office of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission in Ikoyi, Lagos. A statement from the State House says the president gave the directive when reports that the DSS officials stormed the EFCC office located on Awolowo Road, Ikoyi, Lagos today, preventing officials of the anti-graft agency from accessing their workplace, was brought to his attention. The statement adds that the president says if there are issues between the agencies of government, they should be resolved, would be resolved amicably. Let's head to Abuja now. We have more stories this time from Gloria Umezoke. Hi, Gloria.
Hello, Millicent. Thank you. Here in Abuja, we begin in Katsina State, where residents are appealing to Nigerians to forgive former President Muhammadu Buhari for whatever he might have done that is considered out of place in the course of the discharge of his responsibilities as president. Their appeal comes as the Daura Emirate Council, under the leadership of the Emir of Daura, His Royal Highness Umar Farouk Umar, organized a colorful durbar and cultural display to welcome former president back home upon his successful completion of 96 months in office.
Barely a day after the former President Muhammadu Buhari handed over the mantle of Nigeria's leadership to President Bola Tinubu, this colorful durbar and cultural display is put together to celebrate him. The Daura Emirate Council has been anticipating this day, and this durbar is one among other programs planned by the Emirate to appreciate the former president. The durbar kicked off from the Daura Township Road and terminates at the famous Kangiwa Square in the ancient city of Daura, Katsina North. The richly attired 90-year-old Emir, His Royal Highness Umar Farouk Umar, defied the harsh weather to ensure that the president is entertained. The excitement in the atmosphere was palpable. In the midst of all this, a cross-section of residents seized the moment to appeal to Nigerian citizens to find a place in their hearts and forgive the former president for what he did out of place during his tenure. They also believe that the new Nigerian president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, will consolidate on the achievements so far recorded by the former president.
We are very, very happy that he's back. You know, to rule Nigeria is not an easy thing. For somebody to rule Nigeria for 8 years and come back home safely, soundly, one should thank Allah. We thank Allah for him, and we are very happy for him. The reason why we organize this durbar is to show him that his people are still with him. We are still with him. We love him 100%. He's a human being. What he has done, he has done. He can't complete the job. So we are appealing to Nigerians to please, if there is anything he has done that is out of place, please let them forgive him. He's a human being.
Honestly, the occasion is fantastic. You can see the people around. Everybody is happy. Mr. President is happy. We are happy. The Emir is happy. Everybody is happy. So, Alhamdulillah, we are happy. We are happy to receive our son after 8 years away.
The contingent of horse riders were drawn from the 5 Daura Emirates comprising Baure, Daura, Mai-Adua, Sandamu and Sango.
A former Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has been formally welcomed home amid celebration by his kinsmen in Obiakpor local government area after 8 years in office. The former governor was hosted to a reception at the Port Harcourt Polytechnic in Rumola, where the traditional council in his local government area conferred on him a chieftaincy title to appreciate his outstanding performance. The ceremony was attended by the incumbent governor, Siminalayim Fubara, and some former governors, among other guests.
A day after handing over to his successor, former Governor Nyesom Wike is hosted to a grand reception with a line of cultural performances by the people of Obiakpor, his local government area. Governor Siminalayi Fubara and former governors Peter Odile and Ayodele Fayose are also present at the colorful event to appreciate the immediate past governor for his achievement in the 8 years of his leadership.
We're thankful to God on this auspicious occasion for what he has done for us, for taking him and bringing him back in one bit.
His wife, Justice Suzette Wike, is also appreciated for her support, which they say provided the stability for the former governor to diligently perform his duties.
We are here to honor the immediate past governor and, of course, his wife, who has stood by him all these years. Your Excellency, Nesomeze Wike has performed so marvelously well.
After the goodwill messages, the Council of Chiefs conferred chieftaincy title on former Governor Nyesom Wike.
The title of Eze Ashiga Nehia Abo Okurume One Obia Po.
The former governor, donned in traditional regalia with his wife, takes the stage to appreciate his kinsmen for the honor.
What would I have achieved without your support? I'm strong because I have people at home. I have people when I say come, they will come. When I say go, they will go. And I want to sincerely thank you for that.
Governor Fubara, in his first official outing, says greater stories are yet to be told about his predecessor, even as he thanks the people of Obiakpo for the reception.
When a hunter goes into the forest and successfully overpower a great animal, he doesn't need to carry the animal home, because the animal, being great, will be bigger than him. He invites his people. They will join him. You have joined him to deliver for the river's people.
The chieftaincy title of Okurume One in the Kwere language of River State, when translated in English, means the man who walks the talk.
That's it from the nation's capital. It's back to you, Millicent.
Many thanks, Gloria. Well, we continue with some company news right now. And in commemoration of the 2023 Children's Day, Pepsodent, a leading global toothpaste brand endorsed by the Nigerian Dental Association, has engaged over 1 million children in Nigeria on the importance of oral health to people's overall well-being and quality of life. Here in Lagos, Pepsodent took her educational schools program with emphasis on the importance of brushing day and night to the St. Saviour's School in Ebutemeta, where free toothpaste and toothbrushes were given to children to facilitate their brushing habits.
A rainy Children's Day at the open field arena of St. Saviour's School in Ebutemeta is lit up with a lot of excitement as Pepsodent treats the children from the school to a fun time. The party has over 200 children in attendance and features lots of fun activities which has the children and their parents at the edge of their seats happily. Another highlight of the event is the demonstration of the proper way to brush the teeth. Children and guests present seized the chance to undertake a free dental checkup sponsored by Pepsodent.
One of our missions is to eradicate oral health diseases in the world and in Nigeria at large. And we've also noticed how this is causing absenteeism in schools. We've decided to take it as a mandate on us to educate kids on why they need to brush their teeth twice daily.
We know that when it comes to changing habits, you have to start from quite young. It's difficult for you to change the habits of an older person, and so that's why we go into primary schools to teach children about the benefits of brushing day and night, because we believe that it would help them imbibe the right oral health care right from when they are young, and they can grow with it.
The strong component of teeth that makes teeth strong and healthy. Pepsodent has maintained the exact concentration of fluoride in their toothpaste, that particularly in our environment where our water is soft in these parts of the world.
For the school, it's commendation for Pepsodent, and there's a commitment from the kids.
As a parent and as an adult, in charge of any child, that is one simple thing to teach a child from a very young age, so that when they grow, and as they grow and they go on their own, they're able to do this simple task for themselves and know, the importance of hygiene, general hygiene, and in terms of brushing, dental hygiene.
Now with Pepsodent, I'll commit more to brush my teeth twice a day.
Unilever says it will continue to help increase awareness of the importance of maintaining good oral hygiene and educate the public of the major activities that help to ensure good oral hygiene.
Time now for some business news. Here's Joke Rogers.
Thanks, Millicent. Welcome to Business News. The Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPRA, has asked Nigerians not to panic over the subsidy removal, as it has enough supply to meet the country's demand. This appeal comes as it also urges oil marketers to keep their retail outlets open to customers. The agency says it supports President Bola Tinubu's decision to stop fuel subsidy payment, as this is in line with the petroleum industry. Meanwhile, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria is opposing the government to stop subsidy on the fuel by the end of next month. In a statement issued on Tuesday, IPMAN said the government should dialogue with marketers before taking the decision to remove fuel subsidy. According to IPMAN's National Public Relations Officer, Ukadike Chinedu, the government needs to fix the nation's refineries before taking decisions that will cause galloping inflation and inflict more hardship on the masses. Meanwhile, the Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, MOMAN, has also maintained its position that fuel subsidy should stop. And it was a historic day at the local equities market, which broke all records today as the all-share index jumped by 5.23%, its largest single-day gain, with the market cap gaining over 1.5 trillion naira. This bullish momentum comes as investors react positively to President Tinubu's pro-market inauguration speech. Ini John Mekwa has more.
Thank you so much. Welcome to the stock market report. Well, it's the first trading day in the administration of President Bola Tinubu, and the market is positively inclined to his comments on unification of foreign exchange rates and giving a closer look at taxes. So from a 2% gain at intraday, the market went all the way to 5.23% at the close of trade. And there we hit the 55 index mark. That's the highest the market is allowed to go, according to the ceiling has been set. And guess what? The market cap there, 30 trillion naira. Now, Accessco gained 15 kobo to lead top trades today, and that's 2.4 billion naira. When we talk about value, we're talking billions today. Accessco, First Bank also 1.74 billion. Well, we still have transfer there doing millions. And of course, this reflects in the sectors, because what we see is the banking sector up more than 8%. That's what happens when eyes are on the banking stocks. And also the oil and gas, the mighty ones, the corn oil, Total, they were up today. And that's why we have oil and gas also doing very well today. Consumer goods are looking so good there. Dangote Sugar has a lot to do with that. A very positive market breadth that we had at the close of today. And we see that the market, or many stocks, have gone over the moon, and we hope they stay there, at least for some time. That's the stock market report. I'm Ini John Mekwa. Back to you, Joke.
Well, that's it on Business News at 10. Back to you now, Millicent.
Many thanks, Joke and Ini, talking about the moon there. But let's take you back to our top story on the return of fuel queues across the country and the increase in the price of petrol. Our correspondent Olu Phillips brings us the situation report.
What will tomorrow bring? What I've had
No provision is there for fuel subsidy. The fuel subsidy is gone.
It is not the first time the polity reacts to issues around fuel distribution and sales. This time, it's clear and unambiguous. Government is no longer interested in paying for some of your bills when you buy petrol, which is fuel subsidy.
So today, the country don't have the money to pay for subsidy. There's incremental value that will come from it, but it is not an issue of whether you can do it or not, because today we can't afford it. And they are not able to pay our bill. That comes to how much is the Federation owing NNPC now. Today we are waiting for them to settle up to 2.8 trillion naira of NNPC's cash flow.
What will tomorrow bring? Today is that tomorrow talked about yesterday. So in the commercial city of Kano State in northwest Nigeria, long queues have returned. Down to the old rich south-south state of Rivers, some fuel stations were closed while others have jacked up the prices and are selling between 350 and 500 naira per litre.
General text message can go all around, maybe from MTN, Glo, Airtel. They can go around and send general text messages to people. Okay, from tomorrow, so thing and so thing will take place. There will be changes in so and so thing. And these are your own, these are the principle that is guiding this policy. No principle, nothing. That way, everybody will just go ahead and start doing whatever they like. As I speak this moment, I've heard some people bought it for 600 naira. It's the same country. Who asked them to sell fuel for 600 naira, for goodness sake?
Still from the pronouncement, our next door neighbor, people appear stranded at the petrol stations across Yenagoa, as most of the petrol stations are shut.
5 litres when I buy for 2.5 now, I never work this 1,000. The money, the fuel don't finish.
502 naira per liter. It's going to 700.
In a dull state, it was a bit heated.
We bought fuel at 450 this morning from Tama. That's why we are selling at the rate of 500.
Hello. Let her break it.
No, that's not true. There is no sales without an invoice.
Going up to the capital city, Abuja, few queues exist, but the prices are the same. Already, stakeholders in the downstream sector have reacted in a statement which reads in parts. The Major Oil Marketers Association of Nigeria, MOMAN, and Depot and Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, DAPMAN, applaud and endorse the pronouncement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the phase-out of the petrol subsidy regime. We appreciate the clarity of policy from the Tinubu administration, a direction that signals a courageous and pragmatic shift in our nation's economic trajectory. Off quote. Which leads us to the response by the regulator.
Ourselves, NNPRA, and the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, will make sure that the customer or the consumer is not taken advantage of.
Clearly, there's been a disruption in supply, leading to the big question, how long will these queues last? What price will become the new range? Will some entities join in product importation? Will things pan out as planned by the federal government? What will tomorrow bring? Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
What will tomorrow bring?
And to some international news now. Russia has accused Ukraine of launching early morning drone attack on Moscow. That's the first time the city has been targeted. Speaking on Russian television, Mr. Putin says civilians were targeted, but air defenses dealt satisfactorily with the threat. The defense ministry said at least 8 drones caused minor damage. However, Kyiv has denied responsibility. Here's Simon Putin with more in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Russia has accused Ukraine of launching an early morning drone attack on Moscow, the first time the city has been targeted by multiple drones since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Russian Defense Ministry said Kyiv had staged what they called a terrorist attack, using at least 8 drones and causing minor damage to several buildings. Moscow's mayor said no one was seriously injured. Ukraine has denied carrying out the drone strikes. Russia's defense ministry said all 8 drones had been intercepted. Meanwhile, blasts were heard in Kyiv and several buildings were set ablaze after Russia targeted Ukraine's capital for the 3rd night running. At least 1 person was reported to have been killed, with officials saying falling debris caused fires. Ukraine says air defences intercepted more than 20 drones. The capital's mayor says 12 people have been injured.
Tonight, 12 people have injuries, 1 people killed from attack last night, and last 2 days it's attack number 4. Almost every day we receive the attack from missiles, kamikaze drones. Oh, hometown, it's almost 800 buildings destroyed, 417 more than 170 is last information. More than 400 buildings, apartments building destroyed. It's killed more than 160 people. It's 5 children. It's terror. It's genocide.
NATO has condemned as totally unacceptable attacks by demonstrators in Kosovo that left at least 30 of its peacekeepers injured. Police and NATO troops clashed with Serb protesters in the north, where there has been unrest over the installation of ethnic Albanian mayors. Tear gas and stun grenades were used to deter protesters after they tried to invade a government building. The crisis dates back to April, when Kosovo Serbs boycotted local elections, allowing ethnic Albanians to take control of local councils with a turnout of less than 4%.
I ask both parties to urgently take measures to de-escalate tensions immediately and unconditionally. And any further unilateral action has to be avoided and calm being restored.
Dozens of protesters have clashed with security forces in Senegal's capital. Police officers fired tear gas at demonstrators who built barricades along one of Dakar's main highways. In one neighbourhood, cars and a ministerial building were set on fire. The spark for these clashes was lawmakers and supporters being reportedly blocked from visiting the home of opposition leader Usame Sonko. But it's also the latest round in months of unrest triggered by President Macky Sall's refusal to rule out running for a 3rd term in office, and by court cases involving Sonko. India's top wrestlers have said they will throw their medals into the Ganges, the country's holiest river, as part of their ongoing protest. Olympic medalists Bajrang Punia and Sakshi Malik were detained by police as they intensified their protest, demanding the arrest of their federation chief over sexual harassment allegations. They also plan to go on an indefinite hunger strike at India Gate, a war memorial in the capital Delhi. The wrestlers have been demanding the resignation and arrest of their federation chief, who they accuse of sexually harassing female wrestlers for years. He has denied the allegations. And finally, a rare all-white giant panda has been caught on surveillance cameras in China's Sichuan province. That's according to state television, which broadcast the footage. The video was captured at the Wolong National Nature Reserve and showed the panda walking, dragging bamboo shoots and interacting with other black and white pandas. Researchers quoted by state media said the panda was estimated to be 5 or 6 years old. Images of the same panda were first captured in April 2019, when it was 2 to 3 years old at around the same location. But no clear frontal images were captured at that time. The white panda is believed to be an albino and could be the only one of its kind in the world. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
You're quite right, Jeffrey. Well, and the main news again, President Bola Tinubu and his Vice President Kashim Shatima today formally resumed at the presidential villa as they began the task of presiding over the affairs of the country. Both reiterated their resolve to tackle the subsidy regime and other issues. Also today, fuel queues returned in various parts of the country as marketers bumped up pump prices in reaction to the president's announcement that fuel subsidy is gone. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a good night and stay safe.